Accomplishing greatness. Welcome to the Lag BaOmer perspective.
Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai Yochai Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai Yochai Chas 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 v'shulem shetish takach toiru me yisru.
The Lag BaOmer perspective is sponsored by the Hess family. May Hashem bless them with much health, success, and happiness. Lag BaOmer is an immensely spiritual and festive day where we commemorate the Yorzeit, the anniversary of the day of passing of the great sage and mystic Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar. We also celebrate another event, the conclusion of the plague that raged amongst 24,000 students of the great sage Rabbi Akiva. We commemorate this auspicious day by lighting a bonfire, which represents the immense light that Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai brought into this world through his teachings. This is especially true on the day of his passing, Lag BaOmer, when he revealed to his students the secrets of the Torah, whose profundity and intensity the world had yet to experience. The Zohar relates that his house was filled with fire and such intense light to the point that his students could not approach or even look at Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. It is a custom to go to Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai's burial place in the village of Meron, which has the largest Lag BaOmer celebration, and around the clock singing and dancing. We can learn so much from both of these great and holy sages. And although Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai had drastically different upbringings, the lessons they left behind are similar in nature. Rabbi Akiva is of humble beginnings. He married the daughter of a wealthy citizen of Yerushalayim, and he was employed by his father-in-law as a shepherd. As the story is told, he once saw a drop of water continuously trickle onto a rock, and after many years, the rock eventually split. When he saw the split rock, he said to himself, if water can crack a rock, I too can study Torah. With the encouragement of his wife, he began his initiation into Torah studies at the age of 40 years old. And when he returned to his wife 24 years later, he was escorted by 24,000 students and as one of the greatest sages of his time and a leading Tana, a leading rabbi in the Mishnah. Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, on the other hand, studied in the yeshiva of Yavna as a young boy under the great sage of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai and later under Rabbi Akiva himself in Bnei Brak. So attached did Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai become to his teacher that Rabbi Akiva called him Bini, my son. And during the persecution of the Romans, the study of Torah was forbidden on penalty of death. However, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai defied their decrees and continued to teach Torah to the masses. And when he was once heard speaking ill of the Roman Empire, he was sentenced to death. However, before the Romans could find him, he fled to a cave with his son, Rabbi Elazar. Hashem made a miracle and caused a tree to grow at the entrance of the cave as well as a fresh spring of water. And they stayed in the cave for 13 years, sustaining themselves on the carob and water. And during that time, they studied Torah and became some of the holiest sages of all of times. One of the many ideas that are common by both of these great sages is the notion that no hindrance can truly stop you from reaching your goals. We see this from Rabbi Akiva, who did not study Torah until the age of 40 and yet became one of the greatest sages of the Mishnah. And it does not end there, because when 24,000 of his students died for lack of respect for each other, he restarted his school and grew to over 100,000 students and began to explain the crowns and the letters in the Torah. We see this from Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, who got his smicha, his rabbinical ordination, from the great sage Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, who publicly ordained 5 famous scholars defying the Romans' decrees not to give smicha. And when the Roman authorities found out what had occurred, they tried to capture all the newly minted rabbis. Unfortunately, all ordained rabbis escaped, but Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava was caught and put to death. And ever since, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai was in a position of influence. He regularly taught Torah in public in direct defiance to the Romans. And while he and his son were in the cave, they used that time to achieve a higher level of holiness by continuously studying Torah. And when they exited the cave, they settled in the northern part of Israel, where they established their yeshiva, their school. And one of his most famous students is Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, the compiler of the Mishnah itself. So in our daily life, we cannot let obstacles hold us back from achieving our goals, and we must not let adversity hold us back from our potential. Because if we stay the course and keep strong to our morals and our values, we will reach our goal. And as a result of that experience, our ability to enjoy the fruits of our labor will be infinitely greater. There's an amazing quote that I once heard. If you are persistent, you will get it. However, if you are consistent, you will keep it. Have a meaningful Lag BaOmer.